Bawumia's office called me and said, after the announcement came, and then he called me and said, I want to come and see you. I said, no, I'll come to you. So I went to see him at the house, and he told me that I'm so sorry I couldn't consider you. But by that time,
he apologized to you for not
apologize. He just said I couldn't consider you. And I said, thank you, no problem. There's a reason for everything. What has changed is that I saw how we were beaten in the election.
One from Ghana for what?
So I'm vice president and work economic management team. So we do a whole lot of Pagana for each other. We feel was such no car.
Tell your Adutwum, I suppose Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Young say 2023 no. Na the part one and Senka Dr. Adutwum be partner Bawumia. But Amanesa. Na Dr. Adutwum one interview no what cases should people say. Idea a nipa bi normal person mo gye ne nkwafiri ne nsam. Emma mpodru mre bia e say nipa bi timi bopo de face mask so manim e be shoot ne car tie. Ama say nyanya me na ba mu a anka ne nya ne se yehu papa yi. Na obeka ye free bra Dr. Adutwum. Enya kokoduro ye say obepre na NPP fragbership no so ba mu bi no. Kam ye say manfo bi ha ase e de nsem bi fefa no ho a se de omoye Kennedy akompre ko Japan no a obeka ya Kennedy bro ye say oba no be contest pe no mo de the tension of Kennedy Japan by twan travel do egu Kennedy show na abusia enne ya sasi mu biu ebra Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia be piem wa santimantem no ene wo ye say na amba mu panyifo nyina no omo epagana fo ache wo se omo di omu hwamone ade ena Dr. Adutwum kasi so no education na nanado dan kwakwo for the shenesa ye nyina so di adanse the TVET the STEM education enema hodo a papa yi etimi ede ba ya ema adesuane ade kire ya akono ye fe ye hwam ema ma hodo so South Africa ne ama hodo ba Ghana besua ye education system enti ono ohun ne se nko bia minister bia na soafo bia na obia sector de no to ye se de Bawumia to economy economic no etete pansam ya dollar drew be 17 cities no se nko bia so hwe ne de saa Kenya nse NPP lusu ye eti Bawumia sama wo ka se omo pa cha oni ade de ono anka se ono e bi ono economy no ofeli na dollar jinisem ena nema ye basa no accept ne de awonye ba ono education former education minister say Adutwum de education no or perform better I say entren kan fo no na so betimi ama no 98% say oni ha bia busia yanyemra ni entie this time around expose waka e de tudwa afa Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ho and na da bia ode man no promises bia ode man na one for free yanyemra ni entie na children
don't worry about it at all. The right time will come. Maybe that will not be your moment. And even though it's a young man, what he told me really touched me. And I really was able to use that when Bawumia's office called me and said, after the announcement came, and then he called me and said, I want to come and see you. I said, no, I'll come to you. So I went to see him at the house. And he told me that I'm so sorry I couldn't consider you. But by that time,
he apologized to you for not
apologize. He just said I couldn't consider you. And I said, thank you, no problem. There's a reason for everything. I think in life, when you struggle for something...
So you were not offended?
No.
You didn't take it to heart?
No. I didn't feel bad. I thought God has a plan, a different plan for me, and I should rather focus on it. This may not be it.
Is the plan to be president then?
Who knows? God always has a plan for a man.
But the man you told that you want to be his running mate, you're now going to contest him.
I'm going to contest him because I've done my research and I know something. What I know is that Ghanaians are waiting for Dr. Adutwum. If MPP delegates do me the honor of making me the flag bearer, it is going to be an interesting election.
But why don't you let him win again and then have a deal with him for him to now install you as a running mate? If he didn't do it.
If you can be president, why wait for running mate? Why do you want to wait for number 2 when you can be number 1?
But last year, you were ready to be number 2.
Times have changed.
It was okay last year. It just a year on.
Times have changed.
What really has changed? What really? When's the time? What really has changed? Because it just a year ago.
What has changed is that I saw how we were beaten in the election. And I remember a story of that a media guy sent to me via WhatsApp. In fact, it came through different people before it got to me. A recording that he sent to me of what took place in a bus from Enchi to Asankregwa. There was a huge argument in the bus. Vast majority of people say they were not going to vote. And then the driver intervenes and say, I will vote. And they were came and said, why are you going to vote? And he said, I'm going to vote because of Dr. Adutwum. I'm going to vote because that man has a vision that will help this country. And I don't understand why I shouldn't vote for MPP so that he can continue his work.
Was it in your constituency?
No, NGS.
Okay, but you're not on the ballot.
I was not on the ballot.
But he was going to vote for the MP because of you.
Because of me. You see, when I did the presentation about the state of education in Ghana and made Ghanaians know what we had done as a party, a lot of people were touched. So this man was an example of those people who said, I'll vote because of Dr. Adutwum. In spite of how difficult this election is going to be, the delegates are going to have to understand that there are so many people like this driver who are going to vote for us in 2028 because of Dr. Adutwum. Give them a chance, delegates, to make sure, communicate on it, go around the country. One of my journeys back from Boko, Bupe, my car was shot at, literally killed on the line of duty. When I went to the Bupe police station, they said it has never happened before. Nobody has ever shot into a government vehicle because they know you don't carry money. Normally they will attack traders, not somebody in a Land Cruiser. I almost lost my life.
You think it was possibly a targeted assassination?
I don't know. But all that I know was that the side of my car who I said was bullet ridden. I saw these people who had mask on. So we turned a corner, we saw them with their mask on, then they started shooting. My driver was do a zigzag, go this way, come this way to dodge the bullets. It was a very difficult day. And we escaped that. Remember, Chief of Staff being on the phone with me throughout the night to make sure I had arrived safely in Kumasi. When we got to the Bupe police station and we stopped, that is when the tire went flat. They shot into the tire non-stop so that they could stop us there. So I was almost killed in the line of duty for this country. Bawumia's office called me and said, after the announcement came, and then he called me and said, I want to come and see you. I said, no, I'll come to you. So I went to see him at the house. And he told me that I'm so sorry I couldn't consider you. But by that time,
he apologized to you for not
apologize. He just said I couldn't consider you. And I said, thank you, no problem. There's a reason for everything. I think in life, when you struggle for something...
So you were not offended?
No.
You didn't take it to heart?
No. I didn't feel bad. I thought God has a plan, a different plan for me, and I should rather focus on it. This may not be it.
Is the plan to be president then?
Who knows? God always has a plan for a man.
But the man you told that you want to be his running mate, you're now going to contest him. I'm
going to contest him because I've done my research and I know something. What I know is that Ghanaians are waiting for Dr. Adutwum. If MPP delegates do me the honor of making me the flag bearer, it is going to be an interesting election. But
why don't you let him win again and then have a deal with him for him to now install you as a running mate? If he didn't do it.
If you can be president, why wait for running mate? Why do you want to wait for number 2 when you can be number 1?
But last year you were ready to be number 2.
Times have changed.
It was okay last year. It just a year on.
Times have changed.
What really has changed? What really? When's the time? What really has changed? Because it just a year ago.
And one of the contenders, our NPP primaries, with the Vice President Dr. Alhaji Bawumia, and he said you make the point is communication any dear a ham I don't see Mudim Kugu or 2024 about 20. He makes the point is more than we are from shore. That's I'm from shore and will be any mamoko position. And on behalf of more ministers on one casa is apologizing to Ghanaians. Do you associate with that this apology?
Okay, Prof. Me moment there, then come.
On apology no. One from Ghana for.
Me ba a woman swim a bay juma Ghana for 7 failures. Ghana for do not cast a doctor to home. If you don't want us and kid, Nipa do I the way. Enti from source say we adwuma dey say dey be obiti obi na so na emu se ono advice president and we economic management team say bibi wo ho no so pagana for chewa me feel say o secure no ka ye essence say ministers nyina na me pa chew ama wo mu me mom dey emumehwem me nka entume ho na nso ye bi kwai fa so ye ya ye Mo Ibrahim say number 2 ewo Africa baby e fa free ye ni koduru ho mi ntimi ka sem de Ghana fo wu enwomesua ye ni Ghana fo ye adwuma den e ma de Ghana fo hu bi no hu bi make a we could do airport me na mabonten obi timi ba mo no ka say Dr. Adutwum na mi Isra edwuma beye ama o man Ghana nyame o Isra obi me ka say me ma me kwa say bayi twa foto am fa ho kire enam de abaye o Ghana me ko du nkwa onofin ko yi wo ho no mete disaso there drew time ayi mpanifo o ha kire na osofo anu be gina ho ka say Dr. Adutwum wa ha in system education there obi entimi ni free himself one na ma Ghana ye ti ase na Dr. Adutwum wa ban ni ho there tsunami ebi Israel o pepa wunya ya wugya de wo ye America na ba Ghana ebe ye dwumaden e ma oman.
Collectively you were part of the last administration. BB Chima Ibia Ghana for Ekasa about the economy, DDP and the collectively.
America say, what now, so now what can I say?
Okay.
What we should
Dr. Bawumia, head of economic management, on the Unia.
Said, baby, or honor fee said to Chiano in Chiali, I can't. Said, we are quay. Now, we to be finding in come. And what near we ye ma mokra, most wire money, now patrol.
What is wrong with the MPP?
One thing I've seen, even though there are a number of reasons that people give, when I go to my constituency and go to the villages, I think we need some major reorganization at the polling station level for people to feel that they belong in the party at the polling station. That is where all the action is. We can spend all the time talking about what happened in Accra, what happened in Kumasi, and why the Tamale go this way. But at the end of the day, when you go to our stronghold and the party members, you see, in America, we have something like leaning towards a certain party and be a member of the party. The leaning towards is more like the floating voters. But in our particular instance, we've not been able to register the people who say, I am an MPP. And I was born into the MPP. If I go to a village in my constituency like a Dunku, when I visited them, the Dunku people were simply saying, Minister, can you help us see and know what is going on at this polling station so that we feel that we are part of this? I believe you cannot have a robust church with no church service. So we have to begin to go to the polling station and look at the routine meetings that should be taking place there. If it's once a month, every other month, there should be meetings at the polling station. We support them to do so. They can be regular visits or random visits by the chairman of the party to certain polling stations so that they feel encouraged that there's something bigger that they are part of. You know, in our culture, there's nothing good in the villages than having a funeral and getting the leadership of party from there coming, members coming to console you. I'm outdoor and the members are there. I think the reorganization should begin at that level, not based on the idea of who are the leaders at the local level, but the focus should shift from who is a polling station executive to who is a member of the party at the polling station. And if you can get a place in my constituency, they will tell you that in this town, every one of us is part of MPP. And whoever is not an MPP, they are visitors who have come to stay here. If you make them feel welcome and their routine meetings and they feel that they belong, on the day of the elections, you don't have to go and remind them that I'm going to pick you up to go and vote. A week before the election, because they were at the meeting, majority of them were at the meeting, they are going to inform the few that were not able to make it to the meeting at the polling station level. So if you ask me, as the flag bearer, my focus was going to be reorganization, very invigorating, right from the polling station, and not focus on position, but focus on the general membership, so that people will feel like I'm part of something.
Your recent national conference, isn't that what you attempted to do when it expanded your delegate?
See, we expanded, but we expanded delegates, right? It's still delegates, not membership. The membership issue is key. And if we don't focus on that and still talk about delegates, we expand the delegates, unless you want to do one man, one vote or more, and you have the logistics to do so. You know, in the US, primaries are one man, one vote for the parties. But what they do there is a very unique situation where when you are going to register to vote, you declare your party affiliation. So they will generate the voter register for Democrats, voter register for Republicans. Until recently, if you say you are independent, you couldn't vote in the primaries of the parties. Now in some states you could vote.
Yes.
But until then, if I'm going to do primary election of MPP, I'll get a voter register from the EC with the names of all those who have indicated that the MPP. So you don't have a crossover mafia where you can have somebody who is not MPP crossing over to come and vote, paying the due 6 months before the election and saying that I'm MPP. And how dare you tell the person that, no, we don't know you, you are not MPP. You say, I'm MPP. I don't live here, I just came, move here. I'm MPP, what do you do? So when we create the architecture of the space for one man, one vote, that would be the ideal way of getting members involved. But until we do so, we have to look at how we have meetings, monthly meetings at polling station level where people will take attendance. So you know people who are truly members, and it's not just becoming a member, but showing the solidarity that comes with membership of all organizations in the community, which is come and console me when I have a funeral. When I'm doing this, my members come. It made me feel good that I'm part of a family. They look at these things as part of the extended family, a version of the extended family. Unless you build up the extended family, you're going to have a problem because people will feel disenchanted because they don't feel connected to the party. So I believe that a major focus of reorganization will be to see the polling station level, those who are members, do we allow them space to come express their opinions?
I mean, it's been 9 months since you lost elections. You think the party has learned the lessons?
I think the conference and the amendments that came was part of the lessons of the loss. So no doubt lessons have been learned. The only thing that I have a concern about is how we are allowing internal elections to become so acrimonious, insult flying left and there. People, you can challenge people based on record. I can challenge people based on ideas. I can say to people that if you want to transform Ghana, the foundation should be STEM. That is what I believe, and that is what if somebody wants to counter that and say something else, the person has a right to do that. And
where the superior argument should win.
The superior argument should win. But this idea of making it personal, no. Because at the end of the day, if you really believe that you're going to win, you are careful about how you treat your competitors. Because when you win, you're going to need them. So I don't believe in this idea of insulting each other and then after that you say, let's reconcile, form a reconciliation committee. Think about the difficulty of reconciling and stop insulting one another. And you have to be able to call your surrogates to order.
But you talk about surrogates. Some of the aspirants themselves are on platforms using tribal language, fanning it, talking about Kusasi, Mam, Prusi, and this is the MPP. This is the MPP of thinkers.
To me, that's what I've said. If you do that, then you don't believe we are going to win. If you believe we are going to win like I do, I'm careful. I'm treating people with care and respect because I'm going to need them. When my hand is raised, I'm going to have a hand to shake, and that will be the hands of my competitors. So every one of them running, every one of us running, should be mindful that, you see, insults can hurt. When somebody has not done anything bad to you, but you're insulting them, and after the insult, you come to them and say that, let's come together. Yeah, physically, we'll be together, but emotionally, he will not be connected. About 4 days ago, Nana Kumia sent me some those Oprah news, fake news accounts saying that I've said something negative about Vice President Bawumia. And then he indicated that I believe this is fake. You see? Because he knows in his heart of hearts that Dr. Adutwum will not do such a thing. But he just wanted me to know that that is how people are doing. So I asked my staff to stamp it as fake and let it go so that people will know that Dr. Adutwum will not descend into the gutter with anybody. Even when I'm invited into the gutter, I'm not going. I'll stay the high ground.
For those outsiders like us, just watching the MPP, we saw Akwetia as the first example to test if the MPP is really beginning to reform itself, change, and possibly get back on track. We saw the defeat. The defeat is one thing, but then the reasons why you lost there, for many election watchers and political watchers, there was one thing that was clear, that the mistakes of 2024 were repeated in Akwetia, at least some of them. You disagree?
I disagree on the mistakes in terms of what happened in 2024 and what happened in Akwetia. Akwetia is a constituency. At the national level, there were many things. When you go to a constituency level, I think always that we can be better at organization and mobilization, no doubt about it. But also, you are dealing with a government in power. In an election that was not, the difference was not that huge. And then you have a certain government using what certain governments use and saying, hey, we control the purse. You want development? You don't want development. So when you are going up against a certain government, you really, really have to master the courage to probably do more than you did, which led to the loss. So I think there are lessons to be learned, and we need to learn.
What about
so
the factors you couldn't control, which of course the party in power has a candidate there, people would obviously gravitate towards them. But then there are factors that you can control. Choice of candidate is another one. Do you do it by consensus or through an election? Understanding the demography there, 72% literate, and yet you bring in a miner, and you see him as somebody who was involved in legal mining. He's denied it, but it is perception. You know how perception is important in politics. Absolutely. I mean, those are factors you could control to at least give yourself a better chance of winning. And those ones, the boxes appears not to have been ticked.
I hope when I become the flag bearer, there will never be a by-election. So I don't want to even suggest. But when you are the leader, you have to look at many other things. There, I went to Bodua to campaign with the candidate. And he's a young man coming up in the political space. And I followed him to the mosque, to many other places. And in fact, it was indicated that he was actually the imam said that they know him very well because he was born in the Zongo and grew up there. So he's somebody that the Zongo people knew very well. We then went to the palace of the Moshi chief and pay respects to him, and then had the opportunity to meet with a women's group who are all Moshi people, and had a very good discussion with them. I thought there was a lot of energy there and thought we were going to win. It didn't happen. But in elections, when you don't win, you learn lessons. I'm sure the party will have learned some lessons.
And finally on the party, in your own bid to be president, you have to file. Then we learned recently from many of your other contenders that you actually have to pay 4.6 million, was it?
Party issues are party issues. But I also want your viewers to know that I've paid.
You have paid them?
I've paid the money because I have to show that I'm capable of winning. And the whole idea of supporting the party in terms
You didn't see anything wrong with that money. A lot of your other contenders have complained about it.
You see, the issue about money and how you run primary is going to be very expensive. Now we're doing the last few years, we are doing these primaries at the constituency level. And the party has to put up a major operation, ballot papers and a whole lot of things that needs to be done. I don't think it's going to be easy on them. I don't know the budget, so I can't say that it's justifiable or not justifiable. But I also believe that there was a certain element of cost and they wanted us to contribute. Because we are no longer in power, maybe we may not get people to donate.
But isn't that why you pay the filing fee? And then you also paid your nomination fee. That was what it was supposed to do.
Sometimes ago, about 17 people will file. So if they pay 600,000, it's good enough money, right? There's just 5 of us. So I think paying the 600,000 probably wouldn't have done the trick for the party executive. So in their wisdom, they thought we should contribute to help sponsor the campaign.
But 4.6 million, it's quite expensive. It begs the question, where is Dr. Yarsay Adutwum getting 4.6 million to pay to the party?
The good news is that I have a campaign team and people who work with me, people of great repute, who can support what I do. My campaign chairman is Chairman Opombio. Opombio is a known entity, an astute businessman who has served this party very well. And we have a circle of people who support what I'm doing. So it doesn't become a burden just on me.
Let's end with education. You are an educationist. Free SHS. It's been 9 months since this new government, since you left. What's your verdict on the way your successor has managed first pre-SHS policy? Happy with it? Is it keeping your legacy intact?
I think in some areas, they are keeping the legacy intact. In some areas, I'm not seeing any progression of the legacy, but at least whatever we left is being kept. So STEM education, they haven't done anything untoward towards STEM education. When you look at areas where they promised that within 120 days, they will eliminate the double track.
Yeah, but it's still an agenda of theirs.
Yes.
Harun Idrisu says on August 24th, quote, the double track system has impacted negatively on quality. Says students have fewer contact hours and less study time, which affects your performance, and they're so committed to
unfortunately, my brother Haruna doesn't understand. And the staff at the ministry have done great injustice to him. They should have shown him the data. They should have shown him the numbers in terms of contact hours. And they should have also told him that about 35 or less % of the schools are on double track. The rest of them are no longer on double track. So he shouldn't speak as if all schools are on double track. About 65%, now going to 70%, are no longer on double track. They're on single track. In his own region, Tamasco has been off double track for the last 3-4 years. A number of schools are no longer on double track. So he should give that history. The idea that it has harmed education. Look at the WAEC results and it should tell you it hasn't harmed education. I tell you this, the only people that have sympathy and I wanted to make sure we get rid of double track with the headmasters. Even though they were allowed to go on vacation and leave the work to the assistant heads, many of them would not do it. I know Pokwa headmaster did that every year. He went on vacation and left the assistant head in charge. I was always teasing her, hey, you were able to go? He said, when I'm gone, I'm still working with them. But many headmasters, they want to take a chance. Maybe the assistant may not do what they wanted to do. So if you talk about a group that had my sympathies, it was mainly the headmasters.
They formed an 11-member committee to face it out.
And when they formed it, how many days did they meet to come to the conclusion that they couldn't? The 120 days that they said they were going to face it out within 120 days. In fact, they put some schools on notice that single track schools not to open because they're going to combine their opening with all the other schools. Then they realized that they couldn't. You see, the knowledge and ideas that went to the double track, I always say that communication can kill you. We did not communicate well at the beginning. So we were overtaken by events. It was a novel idea, something different, never happened in Ghana, but it had happened in America. I taught in a double-track school system. We didn't call it double-track, and that name too was a problem. When you say something is double,
but you held on to it even as a minister.
No, but what do you do?
didn't change it.
What do you do?
You rebrand the name.
No.
You change the name to something else more appropriate.
No, it was already done. We have close to 70% of the schools already off double track. So what was the point? The point I'm making here is this. You always have to make sure you fully understand. I mean, they recently launched the B-STEM. We launched B-STEM here in November, right here, November 7th, right here in East Legon. I launched B-STEM. Then I heard the minister launching it again in Sunyane. But it wasn't a problem for me. Relaunching is affirmation of something good that I did. So I commend him for affirming that something good that we did.
What about the fact that free SHS has not been extended to private schools? Good idea.
Before I get to that, there was this idea that when they come, they will give headmasters the money. Headmaster can buy a goat, buy anything, feed the students with it. They tried it for 5 months and saw that it was not. Now they've gone back to the same way with buffer stock and commodity exchange. They've gone back to what we were doing because they saw that giving the 100% of the money was not going to be.